Woo! Hey, Sunshine. Hey, Sunshine. Hey, Sunshine. I see you, Angela. Thank you for joining. I know. I couldn't wait either. Hey, Clarissa. I hope you're doing well. Send me your address too, Clarissa. Text me your address, please, ma'am. Hey, Jennifer. Thank you for joining. Y'all are so amazing. Y'all are prompt. Y'all know I like to be on time, and here you are right on time, 3:33 on Sunday afternoon. Mwah. Thank you. I appreciate that so very much. So listen, if you all would go ahead and share, because the more people, the better. And we're going to go ahead and play a commercial break while we give you an opportunity to share. So if you're new, I'm Selena, Conversations with Selena, and I will be right back. Hey, thank you so much for sharing. Let's see, we have, what did you say? Oh, hey, Shannon. I haven't even introduced her yet. Y'all are so funny. So, thank you again for joining. I have a couple of announcements before I introduce my very special guest. Let me see. I tried to tag Tamara. I'm not fast enough on this tagging. Hold on, let's see. She asked me to tag her. So we will do that. Tag. I tagged a few. Oh, they're popping up too. So I'm just going to keep on tagging while they're popping up. All right, so that's good. I tagged a few people and we're going to save it. Awesome. All right, so I just want to tell you all, congratulations to the winners. Y'all are amazing. You shared, you liked, you commented, and that is how you become winners. We put the names back there in the Enjoy the Journey basket, and we shook them up, and Joshua pulled the names last night. So you only have a short period of time to claim your prize, and then we'll have to move to the next person. So that is my public announcement. Please just keep that in mind, that by the end of the night, whichever the drawing falls on, by the end of that night, midnight, that is the end of the time for you to claim your prize. Because it's very hard to try to keep track of everybody if you don't come forth and say, pick me, I want a prize, So I want to just let you all know that. And I want to grow this community. You are the CWC community, Conversations with Selena community, and we want to grow. I need to slow it down because I'm trying to rush. We want to grow, so please make sure that you share these videos. We're here for inspiration, motivation, and information. Did you get that? Inspiration, motivation, and information. So the CWC is IMI. Is that too many acronyms? You're going to get it because I'm going to say it enough. So the CWC, let's share. Okay, moving right along. Let me see what we got. Miss Shannon, thank you for being patient because I'm just all over.
I'm enjoying watching.
Girl, because I'm entertaining, I know, all over the place. So, y'all, I'm so excited and I'm honored that Miss Shannon is here with me today just to come to you in her own way about the power. Did you say the power? Can you say the power? I'm going to say the power of forgiveness. And if you have been following me, you know how important this is to me. But Miss Shannon Blestell, she attended LSU for business administration. She earned her master's degree from Tulane University in social work. She is skilled in loss and grief, anger management, clinical training, crisis intervention, spiritual issues, enthusiastic caregiver. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. So, needless to say, she is amazing. She has a private practice that is in Slidell, Covington area. And with no further ado, I want to introduce to you Miss Shannon Blestell. Woo woo! Thank you.
Hey, everybody. I'm excited to be here.
I'm super excited for you to be here. So let's go over here to the comments just because everyone is saying hello to you.
Hello, everybody.
Angela says, hey. Vinny
Hi.
says, hello, Sarah.
Sarah.
Connie says, CWC family. That's right. We are a community. Hey, sunshine. The power of forgiveness. Hello there, Mr. McCullough. Thank you for joining. So, like I said just a minute ago, before Miss Shannon gets started, for me, I carry unforgiveness for so long that it almost kills me. And I nurtured that unforgiveness. So I would go to bed with it. I would wake up with it. I would carry it around with me. I'd rock it to sleep. I give it a bottle. I change it, pamper just to refresh it for the day so it could be fresh in my mind. The offenses that other people had done to me, because I mean, it just built up over time. It was one after another. And then it's like you become so sensitive that even when someone is not trying to offend you, they're not trying to hurt you, you take it that way because you just feel like this exposed wound that's walking around. And I hate to admit that I carried it for so long, because on the outside I would just be smiling, hey, how you doing, that sort of thing. But on the inside, it was eating me alive, just like a cancer that was killing me. So I'm so thankful that you're here. And I just pray that your words will bless someone today, where they will, going forward, know how to just let go, live, and forgive. So I cannot wait to hear what you have to say. And I'm going to sit back and take a seat. I know we say conversations. I'll pop in when necessary, but I have my my tea. And so give us a little bit of your take on the power of forgiveness, ma'am.
Okay, and one of the things I want to help people to understand, I guess the most important thing to start with is that we in our society have made forgiveness a work. Like, you have to do it. You have to work at it. You have to think about it. You have to. And really, forgiveness is more of really a revelation about who human beings are, how their hearts operate. And I guess the main part is that forgiveness comes effortlessly when we realize that people in general, except for maybe sociopaths, do not have the desire to harm people. And the way I want y'all to begin to get that, I want you to think about your own heart, okay? Think about your life. Do you have the desire to bring good to the world, to do good to people, to do good to your kids, your husband, or your wife? Do you have a desire to do well in the world and do good to the world? Or does your heart have a desire to do harm while you're here on earth? Now, pretty much everyone I talk to says, oh my heavens, no, I don't want to do harm. I don't want to hurt. I don't want to do damage to people. I want to bring good to people. And so I want us to understand as humans that that same thing that's in our heart is also in the hearts of others, right? So if I only desire to do good in the world and bring good to people, what makes me do not so good things to people, right? What makes me harbor anger towards them? What makes me jealous, right? So is it okay if I talk about that for a minute? Like, what?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll chime in a minute because you all over it.
All right. So, but what causes me to do that is a feeling of lack, that I don't have the right I'm not loved enough. I'm not honored enough. I'm not respected enough. Oh, respect is just a huge one these days, right? And so when I feel lack in an area of my life, it causes like my flesh to jump into action and try to justify myself and try to make my life the good life. So let's just say that I feel like I'm not very nice looking, right? And so I jump into action to maybe I might tear someone else down and criticize them or what I don't like about how they look, right? So there I am from a lie that lives in my heart, jumping into action, trying to make myself feel whole and full. And thereby I do harm to someone else. Now, uh, the desire to do harm to people? No. Look at what the injury that I caused was born from. It was born from a feeling of lack in my own life and in my own self. Now I'm hoping that that's making sense to y'all. Could I give another example?
It and you can, and it does, because I've had conversations with people who they feel that the criticism comes to them like you're doing too much, you just all over the place, because they're not doing anything in comparison they
Right.
want to be doing, but they're not doing. So their criticism, and it's not constructive correction, because that's what I like to call it when someone helps you, when they give you constructive correction that's beneficial. But that criticism comes from a place of, like you said, lack, because they're not doing, and they're judging you for what you are doing, saying, oh, you just doing too much, you all over the place, and blase, blase, blase. And it's only because, if that made any sense, it's because they're not doing, and they're not living up to what's in their heart, what they want to do, because of what? Fear.
Yeah. Right. And so when we can realize that actually, we have innocent hearts inside of ourselves, we really desire to do good. And I hope that everybody realizes that about themselves, that you are indeed the God kind. You are indeed the kind that wants to bring life, right? And when you get that about yourself, you can get it about everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And as you begin to get, and if you don't think that that's true, I just invite you to ask the Holy Spirit for a revelation that that's the truth, that our hearts are actually good towards one another, right?
Mm.
And so, but people, of course, do terrible, egregious things, right? Murders and rape and molestation, and they get into drug addiction. But we need to look at the root of it. The root of it being that we believe we don't have life. We don't have the right kind of life, right? And we as human beings are always desiring life. We want the God life. We want the kind of life that overflows, the kind of life that is full of joy and love and peace. We want that, right?
Yes, we do.
And
Yes.
different people have different levels of consciousness about that. But even when you see someone that's, out on the street and on drugs and stealing or whatever they're doing, man, they're trying to find life, y'all. They're trying to find life, right? And as we begin to get that perspective of the innocence, right? Think about Jesus on the cross saying, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. You know what he was saying? This stuff that's coming out of them is not who they are. That's why he could still see us as beautiful. Even when we were harming him, he could see us as beautiful because he knew that the stuff coming out of us was in no way the kind of being that we are. Am I making sense with that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, when people ask about God forgiving us, it says that God, like, your sin is as far as the east is from the west, meaning he doesn't even count you according to what you're doing in your flesh. He counts you according to who that, remember how we're talking about that innocent heart that's in all of us? In the beginning, we were talking about the innocent heart. Yeah, God knows the heart is innocent. And God knows that this world comes to us and presses on us and tells us that we lack. Every day, this world tells us that we lack, right? We lack the right friends. We lack the right money. We lack the right job. We lack the right
Like in the body. Yeah.
And the
The
body,
look,
all
the
that.
body, the finances, all of it. Yeah, we
And it
don't
costs,
compare. We don't meet up to the standard of what society says that we should look like and have and do and all of that.
and that life is out there somewhere, but it's really up to me to go and get the life. And so, in jumping into action, we often do harm to others, right? And so, I want all of you to be thinking about your innocent heart. I hope when I said in the beginning of the show, do you desire to do good towards people or do you desire to harm people? What's your heart, right? I hope everyone could easily see, gosh, my heart is innocent and my heart is pure towards people. Because as you meditate on that inside of yourself, now I can really see other people in the same way. And the only way to effortless forgiveness is to know that the whoever did the offense to me also really had no desire to harm. They really are trying to get life. They're scrapping and doing whatever it takes to get life, right? Even terrible things. I mean, let's just talk about a terrible thing like murder or rape. Let's just throw it out there, right? The worst thing, right? Man, a lot of times in the murders, people are trying to get power, right? Or they feel tremendously offended and the offense makes them feel like a nobody and a nothing. And they're going to try and get life by taking out the thing that make them feel like nothing. Again, they're trying to get life, right? Now, sometimes that can take some thought, and that's why I say forgiveness is a revelation of the truth, or a realization of the truth. It is not a work. If someone harms my child and I try to forgive them by a work, like every day, okay, I'm gonna pray for them. I'm just gonna say that they're forgiven. But when I see them as innocent, it's effortless. It doesn't take any work. It doesn't take any work. And I want to go back again to, y'all think it's hard for God to forgive us? You think it's difficult? You think he's up there working at it? Oh, these damn people, I just don't know if I can do it. No, he's not. Because he sees us. He sees us. He knows we're his kind. He knows that the things of this earth have come at us and made us believe that we lack. And I want y'all to go back, if you even think about in the garden, the reason Adam ran away and hid is because he believed that he was no longer the beloved son of God. But what did God do? Did he say, "Ah, damn it, I can't handle you"? No, he went over there and he clothed him. And he said, "Who told you you were naked?" Because he's saying, it's not me. I didn't tell you you were naked and you lack. The naked is a picture of lacking. So he said, I didn't come and tell you that you lack and that you were no longer my son. Who told you that? Right? And he came and he clothed him. Right? And it's a beautiful picture of God coming to us when we feel naked, when we feel like we lack. And what does he clothe us with? The truth. That you're my beloved sons and my beloved daughters in whom I'm well pleased. And when we're clothed with that, the world can come with its lies of lack all that it wants to, but it can't toss me around anymore. And so when someone comes to me and I get offended, and look, we all get offended, even though, I would love to be completely unoffendable at every second. But the truth is, I get knocked around and something comes at me and I have to go and get quiet and I have to remind myself and allow God to remind me of the truth of the innocence and the beauty of all people. And I like that comment, forgiveness lightens your load. Yes, can I say the definition of forgiveness while we're here? Comes from the Greek word aphesis. And you know what it means? Release from bondage and imprisonment. And Selena, you said that at the beginning. You're like, it was a prison.
Mm-hmm.
A prison.
It really, it was like a prison, and that I kept myself in, because I tried to forgive in my own self. I forgive. But then I really didn't forgive. Like I can't even put into words how I just allowed the abuse, and I allowed, like, even the teachers. Like, I was thinking back at some of the offenses, not trying to just bring stuff up, but things come back to your memory because, I got a chance to meet the other day this young lady, Wanda Worley, and she's doing like amazing things. And it just brought me back to the time where I had this teacher just speak negative over me. She had certain students that she preferred, but people don't understand the words that they speak over you and how they can negatively affect you. And for the longest, I just felt some type of way about her. And even when something happened to her, I feel like I secretly was like, see, had she not been such an ugly person, maybe that wouldn't have happened. But I don't feel like that and think in that manner anymore. But I do pray for people that have offended me. And I truly feel like, and you tell me if I'm wrong, because I see them now and I don't feel like pushing them off of a cliff. I see them and I'm able to have conversations with them. I see them and there's nothing on the inside that just makes me so anxious that I feel like I can't go on for the rest of the day. Whereas in the past, I would relive it. Like I said, I'd nurse that baby, I'd feed that baby. I'd replay what they did and how they did it and how disgusting it made me feel, like the whole process. Now I've taken that mess, you already know, and everybody else, I've taken that mess and I've made it my message in order to help other people be able to forgive their abusers, be able to, if they feel like it, have conversations with their abusers and forgive. And not just those people, the offenses of others that don't even realize that they offended you. People are very critical, especially when they're trying to make themselves feel better. Why? Because they have that lack. So then they come at you, criticizing you, trying to put you down. Because if they put you down, it feels like it lifts them up by putting you down. So even when it comes to that, I feel that I'm effortlessly forgiving them, because it's not toward me. It's something that's lacking in them. It's not me. So now I look at it differently, because, okay, you're dealing with something, and I try not to carry, because I carry for so long somebody else's junk, and I chose to carry it. I didn't want to carry it. I just didn't know how to get rid of it. So now, if you're not having a good day or you're feeling bad about yourself and you want to talk about me or belittle me, I don't carry that anymore. That's not mine to carry. That's your problem. That's you trying to make self feel better by belittling someone else.
Yeah. And we can just be in a place of immediate forgiveness about that, for immediate forgiveness. Because when we begin to see people as innocent, but they've been lied to by this world and told that they lack, right? And so they go out and do things, and man, it's a beautiful thing to meditate on your own innocence and the innocence of others, right? And the word that, God said when Jesus was baptized, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. Well, he's the representative of all mankind. Let me just remind you, that was not just a word about him. It was a word to all of us. These are my beloved sons and daughters in whom I'm well pleased. So, wow, how is God well pleased with some of the crazy misbehavior we see on this earth, right? He's not well pleased with the misbehavior. He hates that the lies of this world get to people's hearts, right? But he still knows the person totally apart from that. He doesn't even count that really as them. And how beautiful when we can get those same eyes for people. And you'll know when you've really forgiven someone, because you
don't want to push them off a cliff.
Or you might even look at them and think they're beautiful.
Yeah, you might.
You might even get to that point.
Look, I ain't gonna tell you, I used to think of ways to like roll up the bodies and get rid of it, dispose of it, watching all of those. I watch all those movies and shows from the ID station. That's it, baby. They was getting away with some stuff for a little while. I was too scared to do it.
How to get away with murder.
Yeah, how to get away with murder. But, it's just because it's coming from such a place of hurt, and you don't understand. You really don't understand. And it takes a while to get that understanding. And a lot of times we're not even leaning toward our own understanding, because we would have been a straight basket case had we tried to completely figure it out. You have to give it over to the Lord, and you have to say, I may not understand this, but I know that you are still in control, and just lay down your burdens, cast your cares upon him because he cares for you. And so, really we have to live that out. Otherwise, we will take ourselves out, because I've been to that thought process before too, where I just don't want to do this anymore. And I thank God that I did not act on that, because that burden of somebody else's abuse and lack and jealousy and whatever it is that they were dealing with, generational curses, if that's such a thing, because it just continues. But for me, I want it to stop now. So it's no longer a thing. And I hope everyone on here agrees with it. It's no longer a thing, because we're going to act right now to effortlessly forgive and not take that junk forward. So it stops with us. We have to be the things that we want to see.
I like Tamara just made the comment, forgiveness starts with the self. And that is true, because we have to go and realize our own innocence. And that is hard for people, because that is not what we're taught. We are not taught that we're innocent. We're taught that the heart of man is evil above all things. And do you know what the word evil really means in that verse? It really means working, toiling, and laboring. Many, many times in the Bible, when the word evil is used, it means laboring and toiling. So if we put that definition in there, the human heart is always laboring and toiling above all things. Right? That doesn't please God, that we're laboring and toiling. He wants us to enjoy life. And so as you meditate on your own innocence, and that it starts with you like, wow, have I ever desired to do harm? I mean, like, we'll have a moment, but that just means we believe we're in lack, right? And we're trying to justify ourselves, right? So we'll have a moment of feeling that, but I mean, deep down in your heart of hearts, So it's really cool when we start to meditate on that, how we can see the innocence of ourselves and all people, right? And then if something gets to my heart, then that's my time to go into meditation, to go to God and say, I don't want to believe this about this person. I don't want this thing attaching itself to my life. I want my life to be like your life, full of love and joy.
Full of love and peace and joy and happiness.
And that's how we're designed. That's our design. When they say we're made in the image and the likeness of God, that's it. That's it. And it's interesting because, think about what's going on in our world right now, and how, people are so easily offended, and they're hoping that the world will change, the government will change, the hearts and minds of other people will change so that they can be okay. You talk about a prison. That is a prison. When I need the world to adjust so that I don't feel bad about myself, I'm in prison. Right? And when I can begin to see those things as being a struggle for the people that are, the struggle for the people that are offended, and man, really praying for their release from that, really praying for their release, because that is a prison. This world is not going to change. I'm reading yours, Tamara. Yes, that's why I feel anger roots itself from the inside. Yeah. I like that. So it's just interesting. It's just an interesting topic. And I wrote something down here that I thought was good. Forgiveness doesn't mean I will no longer be mad at you, but that is a part of it. But that's not totally what it means. Forgiveness is a revelation of the God likeness of people who have no desire to do harm, but are just fighting to get life. That's how I would just sum it up in a few sentences.
So read it one more time, Shannon.
Forgiveness doesn't mean, or isn't, I will no longer be mad at you. Forgiveness is a revelation of the godlikeness or the innocence of people who have no desire to harm us, but who are just fighting to get life in this world.
Okay, wow.
So, in one thing that when someone does something to us, right, they harm us, they sin against us, they whatever, it immediately brings up a question of what does that mean about me and what does that mean about them, right? So if someone close to me rejects me and says, hey, Shannon, I don't think you're a good person, I don't want to be around you anymore, or whatever, right? Immediately, what happens to us? We immediately, okay, so now I have a seed of rejection in there. Now I'm wondering what's wrong with me. Now I'm examining myself, right? And it also, now we also need to justify ourselves. Now we need to come to a conclusion about them, how they're not the right kind of a way, and how, well, something must be wrong with them because, gosh, nothing could be wrong with me. And so it when someone comes to us and rejects us or whatever, abandons us, we immediately question our worth and value, and the worth and value of the people that are doing the action, to quote unquote, to us. But the real
Mhm.
truth is, it's not either or. It's not what's wrong with me, and it's not what's wrong with them. It is, wow, something happened to their heart where they're clearly not seeing me and my actions accurately, right? And now I'm judging their actions. So it just it propels us into judgment, right? And so if we know the truth about ourselves and all people, we can go back to the truth and stand on that, right? And while we might feel the rejection, because of course somebody didn't want to be around us, right? We might feel the rejection, but and sometimes I do have to go back over and over and go back to the truth, back to the truth, back to the truth.
Oh, I'm sorry, Vinny. I missed that question. So there was a great question asked by a young lady. She wanted to know, how do you forgive someone who caused harm to your child? Do you forgive them? Because I was going to chime in when you said about being effortless when it comes to your child. Okay, so for me, it felt like eventually I was able to forgive them. I shouldn't say okay, let me repeat this. I had to try. So that's how I got to my point of forgiveness. It was over a process and over a period of time that my forgiveness took place. And, but if it happened to my child, what I know now, based on what you're sharing with us, I still don't know how I could just effortlessly see they're innocent when you've committed this against my child. Okay, you heard me, mothers say this all the time. You heard me, that's one thing. You heard my child, that's a totally different thing, because you come from that mama bear aspect of it. I'm about to get you because you don't hurt my baby. And so, how do you? I know we're talking about effortless, but when you're talking about your babies and your children, I promise you, it feels like it comes from a totally different area. So, the question is, how do you forgive someone who caused harm to your child?
So you're saying you think it is harder to see them as innocent when they've hurt your child?
Oh, I'm definitely saying it's much harder to see them as innocent when they hurt your child. You can even mess with the money. You mess with the money. People get upset about the money. You mess with me, you fine. You mess with the children, that's off limits.
Okay, well, I have a couple of ideas about that. One is we continue in our hearts to work towards seeing ourselves and others as innocent. And that takes, for me, God had to convince me, because I've been taught my whole life that we were kind of dirty, rotten human beings. And God was really perturbed with us most of the time. So it took some convincing, for me to become convinced. So once I'm convinced of that, it really doesn't matter who did what to who, because it's all the same thing. And wait, I lost my train of thought. I had another thought. Darn it. I hate when I lose things.
I know, me too.
Okay, I'll think of it. I'll come back to it. But it's being convinced of that, even if it was my child, the person is coming from a place of lack and did not have a desire to harm in their heart of hearts. Did they do harm? Yes. Oh, I know what it was. Just popped back in my head. Also, our judgments about what happens to us and our kids cause us a lot of pain. So one of the things that I've learned over time is that and y'all probably all know this, they say, oh, it's not what happens to you in this world that determines how you feel. It's the meaning that you assign to it, right? So if my husband leaves me for another woman and the meaning I assign is I'm terrible, I'm rejected, nobody will ever love me, that's going to cause me a lot of pain. If the meaning I assign to it is, he just was in a lot of pain and he really believed that someone new would resolve his pain, I'm not going to have any pain about that. I might have a little bit, but not a lot of pain, right? It's going to be much less. So also we judge that when something is done to our child, that is now going to be a huge negative effect on their life, and it's going to harm their life, and their life will never be the same. Now, I want y'all to hear that all those are judgments. So what I hear God saying in my head is saying, who told you that? Who told you? Who told a woman that because you're raped that you can never have a normal sex life the rest of your life? Who told you? Who told you? So when our children are hurt, that's one of the things we need to figure out is, man, how am I judging this, right? I mean, my child may have some pain, but all of us know, like I know you know, Selena, I know the terrible things that happened to me brought forth great and amazing things in my life. And so, again, we have a little human, tiny little perspective. But I would hear God saying, who told you that that's going to be the worst thing and that's going to ruin their life? Who told you? So can that help, do you think, with the forgiveness?
I think so, because I was going to say that very P word that you just said, perspective. And, we've talked about that before. So I don't even know if I've ever put the perspective with the forgiveness, because maybe I would have been free a long time ago. But don't get me wrong, I'm thankful that I'm on the free road, the journey of living my best life, my free from that unforgiveness, and having peace and love and being able to go forward, looking at the offenses from that perspective, to where they're hurt and their lack, and in that hurt and in that lack, they're really a good person. That's what you're telling me. They're really a good person, and that I need to look at it from a different perspective. And I think it's true, because because right now I'm looking at it as a totally different perspective. I'm ready to take control over my life and not live under the snares of that unforgiveness. So I think that
again, we make a judgment about what happens to us or what happens to our
we
children.
definitely make a judgment, because it's rough. I mean, it's rough to swallow some of those pills, because it's like you might be innocent and you might have a good heart somewhere deep down, but right now you've actually you have hurt me, and I feel like it has done damage to my life. Now, did it ruin my life? In some ways, it just really just made me angry, because I felt like for a long time, could have been because I was in a victim mentality, but there was reason. I felt like there was justification. Now at almost 50, I feel like I'm getting control, and I am walking in a state of an attitude of gratitude and a state of forgiveness, because I no longer look at the people that harmed me and want to do harm to them, or look negatively on them, or speak negatively of them. I don't do that. I don't come from that place anymore. But could I have done that years ago? Oh, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know because we're not aware of this. This is a totally different way of looking at forgiveness than what we've been taught, or what we've been told, or what we've read, or whatever the case. However we've learned it, it wasn't from this perspective.
Right.
In the moment you don't think of this level of testimony to help others, you're just thinking, someone harmed my child.
Correct. That's right.
That's all I could think about. You done hurt my baby.
Of course.
Yes, it's how you look at it, perception of it. Because a lot of times we'll worry about what others will say if we do not forgive too.
If we do forgive too.
I'm sorry about that, business BFF. Okay, so because a lot of times we're worried about what others will say if we do forgive too. Yes, because so often people try to tell you what they think you should do, or if I were you, this is what I would do. And that only feeds it from a different person. It's bad enough that you're feeding your baby, and then somebody else comes and they say, oh, I can't believe they did so-and-so. You need to go press charges, or you need to go, call them out to the lawn, and, we take this outside, sort of thing.
And I want you to see in those statements, people are they are believing that you have to fight for a good life and you got to fight your way through, and that's the only way good's going to come to you, right? Is that you have to fight. And so they will encourage you to be offended and take up arms and take up a fight to somehow justify yourself and get a good life. But the good life comes from not getting offended. That's where a good life comes from. And not judging everything, and the judgment just causes so much pain. The judgment
We have been tired. We have been tired trying to fight because that's all we know. We got to get up and we got to fight. We the soldier. We got to get up and we got to fight every day to make it. And what you're saying is that it's easy. We don't have to fight. We don't have to take on that judgment.
Right. I mean, God desires for us to have his quality of life, which is pretty wonderful and abundant and beautiful and joyful.
And we've been fighting all these years.
The world tells us just the opposite. You lack, you do not have life, and you better fight and scrap to get it, or else you'll be left behind and you won't have the good life.
Because there's not enough for everybody.
There's absolutely not enough for everyone. So we need to just get what we can.
However we can.
Outsiders will do that.
If I was you syndrome, yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Lisa. Sometimes forgiveness is personal and not publicly displayed.
It's beautiful too when it's perfect.
The battle is not ours. Who it belonged to? The Lord.
I'm sure she's saying the Lord. And that is true because we really, if this person, we believe that they've harmed us or harmed our lives, man, it's hard for us to see them as innocent. And, I lay that burden right back on God. I say, I want to think like you think. I want to see them like you see them. In my own strength, I'm just resentful and angry. And then I just allow him to convince me. And I really, in my heart, I want to see people the way that he sees them. That is what I really want. I want to be unoffendable. I want to walk through this world being an instrument of peace so that when, things come to me or I'm upset, that I really can return something good for something not good. Do you know what that does to people? When they, come at you with whatever and you return love, they just completely stunned. And that's what I wanted to comment on the lady that said, sometimes people encourage you not to forgive because they don't understand. They don't understand. They believe you have to fight for your own life and fight for the good life and all that. And they have no idea how you can just open your hands and say, you know what? I'm going to release you and release me because I know a good life is coming to me. I know that this life is good for me.
Well, something that you said, and I know we all know this, but just to hear it again today, see them how God sees them. And that just automatically softens your heart, because if you can see people through his eyes, the way that we want him to see us,
Right.
Forgive us, please forgive me for what I said, what I thought, and what I did. And if we could see the others, the offenders, through his eyes, it really would just soften our heart and make it so easy. Just step back, stop before you react, because a lot of times we react. Once we're offended, our guards go up, we put the gloves on, and we're ready to attack. We're ready to fight for that good life that you're talking about. But if we would just step back and say, okay, maybe they're going through something right now. I'll come back a later day, because like you said, it's not always about us. It's about what they're going through. So, I hope that this blessed someone and that it was helpful, because I know I don't want to be offended anymore. I'm tired of getting my feelings hurt.
Me too.
It's not worth it. Seems like it takes years off of your life when you get offended by other people's actions and behaviors and words.
Not a good energy, is it? It's not a good
energy.
It is
not a good energy.
No. And when you feel it, you know that it's not the God life.
Yes. I don't know if you saw it earlier. Did you see the pastor that said he was on here from Canada?
I did see that.
I said, what? Look at Conversations with Selena. We all the way in. We over there in
That's good.
Canada. Huh?
Awesome. That's
I
awesome. That's
know.
great.
That's what I said. Welcome,
Beautiful.
welcome, welcome. She says, through the eyes of Jesus. And this has helped me today. I'm so glad, Angela, that this has helped you.
Good. I'm glad too.
I know. Because I'm telling you, I wish I would have heard some of this long time ago, but it is a process. But if you can learn early some of these things, and I know the people that have been hurt, that have been suffering from depression and anxiety and unforgiveness and all of those things, when you come out, you want to help somebody else, like not have to go through that entire process. If you can say, shake them, don't do that. Forgive effortlessly. Don't hold on to that.
Right.
Stop getting your feelings hurt. See them through the eyes of Jesus. If we can adopt that quicker,
Right.
earlier, oh my gosh, what would our
Yeah.
life have looked like?
Yes. And if we can begin to examine or notice when we come to a conclusion or a judgment about a person or an action or ourselves, because the judgment is really what leads to the offense. I judge that life has been taken from me. I judge that my life will never be the same. I judge that this thing is going to harm my kids and they'll never be the same. The judgment causes it. And so if we can begin to say, and I want y'all to remember that, like what God said to Adam, who told you you were naked? Like, who told you that was the truth about what just happened to you? Like, who told you your life is ruined? Right?
Earlier, oh my gosh, what would our
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I'm saying just kind of keep that in your mind, how Adam came to a conclusion and God came and questioned his conclusion and said, who told you that? And so we come to conclusions about things that happen to us all the time, and they cause a lot of pain, and they're not necessarily the truth, because if they're not God's perspective, they're not the truth. So it's a great thing to keep in mind. Like, who told you that was the way this is going to go, and that's going to mess up your life? And who told you your finances will never be the same, right? Who told you you'll never be loved? All those conclusions that we come to. So those are really important. And we're not really taught to. I mean, our mind automatically jumps to conclusions about everything, and we really are not taught to check it out. What conclusions have I come to, and are those the truth? We're really not taught that. So I wanted to put that word out today, so that because we can get a lot of freedom from that, freedom from judgment of ourselves, of others, judgment about what happens to us in the world and what it means, because the world has so many conclusions. Just like I was telling y'all, the one about rape, and that can be hard for, when I work with a lot of rape victims. They're kind of mad at me at first when I say, well, who told you it's going to mess up the rest of your life? They're kind of mad at me because the world has so convinced everyone that that's the truth. And at first they're kind of offended, but then they're like, something in that sounds good to their heart. Something in that sounds like, I want that to be true. I just don't know how it is. So it's beautiful.
Well, thank you so much for that. I know I've enjoyed it and I've learned a lot. I had popped over there because Angela said that she invited the Pastor Mike. So I was trying to tell her thank you for the invite, and I accidentally once you click Facebook, it makes that that feedback. So I'm like, I should have put myself on mute. So I was just letting her know thank you. So thank you, Angela, for the invite. Thank you all so much for all of your comments and your interactions. I do believe that this was a blessing, and I hope and pray that going forward, we are able to do forgiveness effortlessly. Effortlessly. I never would have thought I could put those two words together.
Yes. Because as soon as we see like God sees, ourselves first, then we begin to see others as innocent. Man, so much peace.
And that's what I almost said that's what I'm fighting for.
Yep.
I almost said that's what I'm fighting for every day. I'm fighting to protect my peace, but I should not have to fight. That almost fell right out of my mouth after all this hour of power that you gave us. I was about to say, that's what I'm over here fighting for, my peace. But no, I'm not fighting anymore for my peace. I'm waking up and I'm seeing Selena the way that God sees Selena, because yesterday I was sitting here and I was frustrated and I was crying, like real tears, I was crying. And I said, Lord, I just need some help. I need some help. I'm just tired. And lo and behold, a couple hours later, here this young lady is offering her services to help me. And at the moment, I was just kind of caught up in the moment. But later that night, I said, I just asked you for help. And there you are to provide that help. Because, of course, I'm thinking it's not going to happen for me. You know, I don't see myself the way that he sees me. Even the encouragement that I get from my friends and my community, that I'm blessing them by these lives. You're helping me. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. But sometimes at night when I'm here by myself, the thoughts, it's like, girl, what are you doing? What are you doing? But I get up the next day and I do it all over again. And it's because I'm not seeing myself the way that he sees me. What gets me going is because I made a promise. I'm like, Lord, if you get me up out this hospital bed, my big old mouth will tell what you did. And at the time, I thought of the recovery. I thought that that's what my whole message that was going to be, just about him getting me up out the hospital bed. The doctors telling my mother, my family that I was going to die. Just one thing after another is what in my mind, I thought my message was going to be. I did not think at that time that it was going to be an advocate for people who have been abused, because I didn't see myself as being bold and brave and courageous to have that voice to speak up on the behalf of somebody that can't get out of an abusive situation, somebody who's been molested, but they are hiding in the shadow of that abuser, versus seeing themselves the way that God sees them and saying you are more than a conqueror, seeing them the way that he sees them, that you are the head and not the tail, seeing him through the eyes of God-like. I did not see myself. That's not the promise that I made. I had no idea why, because I could not see myself the way that he did. So I'm thankful to God that he places people to remind me, because they see something in me that sometimes I can't see in myself. And Lord knows I'm trying to see it through his eyes. I'm trying to. And I do. I thank God for everybody that chimes in and everybody that shares and everybody that keeps coming back saying, you bless me, because y'all are blessing me. This was a challenge. And if anybody ever thought, why is she out there telling her business? Because she wants some attention. The devil is a lie. That is not the kind of attention that I want. That is not the kind of attention I want. I have carried this baby around with me, this demon, devil, dirty, whatever you want to call it. But I nurtured it as a baby. And so now I'm like done with it. I'm done with seeing myself through that guilt and shame and just, oh my God, I need to stop. I'm just about to stop. Just like that.
There you go.
Freedom from judgment.
Amen.
It is well. Yes. Lisa, God is still working on me. Girl, I know. All of us. The problem is many don't know how the Father sees them.
That is correct. They think the Father is perturbed with them.
And is upset with them. Is upset.
Not. That's a lie.
And we say that out of our mouth. I'm like, Lord, I know you just shaking your head at me like, good Lord, have mercy. She's a hot mess express down there. What in the world?
Yes. And I've heard you say that before, Selena. I've heard you say that. You must think, no, he doesn't. He thinks you're beautiful and perfect and lovely. And it says he's dancing and singing at the thought of you. I mean, think about that, y'all. He dances and sings at the thought of you. So here's another great one. Y'all want to hear another great one?
Yes, girl.
It's the Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. His good pleasure. You know, God likes humans. I think this is shocking to some people. God likes humans.
Lisa says, Selena Thomas, you are an awesome young lady. Thank you for the platform that God created for you. Thank you for obeying God. Bless you, honey. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Releasing our pain helps other people. Keep doing what you're doing, Selena Thomas. Thank you, ladies, for this great episode. I really enjoyed it. Yes, we have to think of ourselves how God thinks of us and loves us. Yes, Business BFF. Thank y'all so much. That is a great way to end. Just knowing that you all have enjoyed this episode, and Shannon has been a blessing to us. I told you she was going to come in her own way and just bless us all the way live from Dallas, Texas. So thank you. We know that you're on vacation, but yet and still you decided that, hey, I want to come and bless the people of your community. That is Conversations with Selena, the CVC community. That's the new name I've given us. The CVC community. I do too. I had to come up with something that started with a C because, that's just me. That's how we do stuff. And by the way, that reminds me, if you all come up with a name, did I say this already? When I'm reading, when I get ready to read my letters, my stories out of my love box back here, I don't know if you can see it, because Sharon Marie gave me that. I need some sunshine. So I had to put that back there. I had it on my nightstand. But out of my love box back here, if you all tell me a name and I select your name for the reading. I had some suggestions in the last comments. It was like Selena's Corner and some other ones. And I'm like, okay, y'all keep them coming. And I will select one and you will get a gift for helping me come up with a name for that. So I think that's it. We're going to let you get back to having back to your vacation.
All right. Much love to everybody.
Yes. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it. And you all have a wonderful evening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday and keep it smiling, sunshine.